And if we ask the stars what they mean, what would they say back to us? Welcome! You want to go on a card journey today? Give me some of your time, and I'll give you some of your story. Well, let's see what the cards say. Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to Koi Plays Tarot. My name is Koi, and I'm going to be your tarot card reader for today. As a side of quick announcements, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That way, when uploads are made, you can see what the stars are trying to say to you. Also, if interested, individual reads are back up and open. Just message or email me directly. Link is on main, and we'll set that up, okay? First and foremost, happy birthday. You're, as being fixed Earth, you are in the dead side of spring, and a lot of things are changing around for everybody. As you'll notice, there is a difference in order that I'm switching up with the channel as well. So we're now doing the one-to-ones more towards the beginning of the month, rather than the end, which was the normal cycle of how I used to do it. Everything's changing with the spring reawakening. So what are one-to-ones? One-to-ones is a style of reading that I do, Taurus, where we have person A and person B, and we examine the intricate dynamics going on between the two. What's happening between points A and B, or person 1 and person 2. Caveat to this style of reading, two main things. First, I hesitate to call them love readings because they're not always lovely, right? Just because we're examining into a dynamic between two people doesn't always guarantee it's going to be rainbows and sunshine, yeah? Secondly, they don't always got to be about love. Promise you. It could be about a friend, family member, coworker, somebody you just met, just what's going on between these relevant relationship dynamics. So as a preamble to the read, Taurus, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but don't always be so willing to reverse. At times, even it gets difficult, understand that I, as your tarot card reader, I'm not here to misguide you or mislead you. Trust me, I go through this with all 12 of the signs. I have no intention to lie. I just talk about what I see on the board. So let's lay our cards out on the table. And good or bad, come rain or sunshine, we'll talk about it. Because tarot is a conversation, just an energetic one, right? Follow on with me in your read today, Taurus. You're one-to-one. And yeah, let's see what the cards say. You're going to be over here, and they're going to be over here. Show us the cards that we need to see, please, for Taurus in this read. Between them and their person in this one-to-one. Show us the cards that we need to see, please, for Taurus in this read today. And again, happy birthday. Your side? Two of Swords. Not during your birthday season. Okay, the notion of confusion. How do we address an ongoing issue? On their side, the Five of Cups. Okay, sorrow and pain rooted in a dynamic. I mean, what do you want me to do about it? At least that's the reaction you're having to it, Taurus. I think there's an ongoing dynamic where there isn't a truly good right answer that's going to make everybody happy. But the person that feels that they are the most impacted is asking, why can't you just fix everything? And in knowing that, if everybody put their hand in the pot, then everybody can also take their hand out of the pot. In other words, there is an ongoing dynamic where, yeah, this has multiple parties involved that culminated in whatever the issue or whatever the conflict is. And one relationship dynamic is looking toward you in particular and asking, why can't you just fix everything? Not entirely sure what that means right now, but we're going to see deeper, okay? So now that we established two different parties, let's look at fronts and backs. The fronts and backs are where the backs is what's left in the unsaid and what we don't immediately tell. And that's on the outside. On the inside, the front's what's being directly communicated. Show us cards that we need to see, please, between Taurus and the person. Dang. Yeah, okay. That specifically came out in the reverse, so I'm going to keep it that way. The Knight of Cups in the reverse. Okay. I have a feeling I know where this is going, but we're going to keep on shuffling. And that's what I mean if you've seen my videos before when I say card has to hit the table and fly out my hand. Quite literally, it should probably look like that. Show us cards we need to see, please, for Taurus. Fronts and backs in this read. Yeah, I had a feeling. Okay. Eight of Cups. Love can no longer live here. You're making the act of intentionality of vacating the heart with the Nine of Cups in the reverse. Was being directly communicated by you. I'm leaving you behind. You are making an active choice to leave a situation or a dynamic on their end. The Moon, the card Pisces. That's frustrating. Why? Where is this being concealed? The Knight of Swords, intentionality of action. Oh my gosh, how did we end up here? Even though we already calculated it. So here's what's going on, Taurus. And again, this could be an intimate partner. It also sounds like it could be a friendship. This is going in a 50-50 split right now. But regardless, here's what's going on. On their person's end, they know their involvement in the actions, right? The active decision-making of a choice, the Knight of Swords, we have two knights in the background, right? Yours is in the reverse, theirs is in the upright. Theirs with the most fast acting and moving off of decision-making and intelligence. The Knight of Swords, they actively participated in what happened, and then the Moon suggesting that, I don't know how we got here. Okay, well, you can take your time not knowing, but I'm walking away, right? What do you want me to do about this? I understand the frustration, Taurus, because they're prioritizing their feelings while understanding their involvements. And I think that's the frustrating part, even as your reader right now, because they're only seeing your action, how it's impacting them, rather than getting the bigger picture of what's going on here. So yeah, Two of Swords, it's not simply the fact that you could say the right things and make everything okay. It's that at a fundamental level, they're only focused on how the entire circumstances impacted them, and by extension, until a more objective viewpoint is accomplished, which I don't believe this person is even making the efforts to do so or can't right now. You're left in a state of, I'm not even going to argue over this with you. Like, if I told you my side, you still wouldn't care. So I leave. I'm making it easy for everybody involved. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And positions. Show the cards I need to see, please. Individual positions upon this read for Taurus and their person. Yeah. You know what? I understand why, Taurus. You made it very abundantly clear. Death. Card Scorpio. We're putting this cycle to an end. I'm moving on with my life. You did this. Cool. I can make my decisions. This comes to a close on their end. The Ten of Wands, the burden of sitting with everything. And they're going to be sitting for a while because they have no intentionality of understanding. Here's the problem that I have with all this, right? The Ten of Wands is a burden that we carry until we learn it, right? Until we can finally let all the weight that we carry on our back, we can finally let it go. Here, this person has no intentionality of doing that right now. So they're going to be sitting down, and they're going to be sat down, angry, sad, frustrated, whatever they need to be for a while. Because at the heart of the matter, they refuse to acknowledge the part that they played in whatever dynamic that causes this rift. The only thing, and I think the healthiest thing that you did in this situation, Taurus, you said, F that, I'm walking away. I'm not going to argue with you. We're not doing this dance anymore. I'll make it easy for both of us. I'm out. Underneath it all, Ace of Swords. What is fact and what is truth? I'm not debating this with you anymore. We're making decisions. You made yours. Now I made mine. Okay? So now that we had two individual parties looking towards each other, 1, 2, 1, let's ask now what's going on in between. So those cards I need to see, please, down the middle, the bridging gap between both parties. What is shared? I understand you're not really quote-unquote confused, Taurus. Your confusion is, if it's so obvious to me, why don't you get that? And I understand the frustration from that standpoint, because it's like, yeah. So down the middle, Two of Swords, more confusion. And I think, again, this ties back to this Two of Swords over here, Taurus, where on your end, It's like, no matter what I say, I don't think you even have the capacity to try to hear me out or understand me right now. So, hey, I'm not even going to start there. On their end, genuinely, I mean, genuinely not understanding why you can't just kind of compromise or just say the right thing and sweep everything under the rug. They're not, again, like I said earlier, they're not even attempting on that end to try to understand that part. High Priestess, intuition, internally knowing. And that's so interesting because that counterbalances that too, where we have the factual information, we also have the internal feeling. And that's why we have two markedly different choices here between you and them, Taurus. On your end, it's like, okay, some things better be left in the unsaid. I'm not going to argue with you over anything anymore. I'm out. On their end, and again, I think this is why this is being intentionally cast under the moon, saying, I don't know, I don't get it, I don't understand, please help me with this, because it puts a burden of responsibility and a buoy towards you. So yeah, we know what internally what that monologue is for both parties. You should stick by yours. Five of Wands. An external conflict being engaged in with multiple parties. Got it. Six of Pentacles. The everyday buildup that happened to get here. Two of Pentacles. How do we make it balance out in a fair and kind of just way? Even if it's not perfect, it is. Underneath it all, you. Hierophant, the card of Taurus, popping out again. I know my truth. I know my path. And if that doesn't involve us being us anymore, the feeling's finally mutual. I'm going to let it go. Okay? Resolution. As we move towards resolution, first, please define the major arcana strewn across the table in this read. We'll first look, let's talk about that moon real quick. I'm trying to understand what they claim that they don't get. So what's the cards we need to see, please, for Taurus in this read? Define the major arcana and push forward. That's a break. If it starts breaking multiple times, I'll just say the first question that comes to mind. So what's the cards we need to see, please? On the moon in this read. Nine of Wands. Yeah. I'm just going to say this as a general plateau, Taurus. If someone is involved in making a decision, they should naturally be able to understand the consequences of said decision, right? The Nine of Wands indicating the level of effort and strain put in over time. I thought you'd be happy about this. Cool. We are on totally different planets here. So you did whatever decision that you made it, you went through with it, and then said, I don't know why you're reacting like this. That is being the gist of what's going on, was being levied towards you, Taurus. If you make autonomous choices without weighing people's considerations or feelings in, and the part I think that makes me the most frustrated about this is that their principal standpoint is still the Five of Cups. Look how this hurts me. Rather than, maybe you're acting like this for a reason. That hasn't even crossed their mind. It's just, look at what I've done. To Death, the card of Scorpio. Star, the card of Aquarius. Any hope that I had of rectifying this and making this right between us, that maybe, just maybe, there's a shot that's dead in the water. We're not even entertaining that anymore. Good for you. And to the High Priestess, Three of Wands, the expectation of the horizon. Here, while either party may claim they don't know all the facts necessary at an intuitive level, we know what happened. And so that Three of Wands, hey, it's all going to come out in the wash. In resolution, Four of Swords, Relaxation. I'm not going to fret over this. There's bigger and better things out there to do. Strength, the card of Leo. Here's what we do, or at least here's what I do. I pack my bags. I move on with my life. What you want to do from here, that's your decision. But for me, I'm going to do it right. Underneath it all, Two of Pentacles. Balance. But here, a new balance where, like I said, your decision to make things work out for you instead of trying to hard carry this dynamic of what should be a wait for two people. What's going on in your read today, Taurus? I don't know the intricacies. It could be an intimate partner, it could be a long-standing friend, but somebody had to get cut off very recently. And on their end, they're only focused on, the pain and frustration that being disconnected from you is causing them, not the role that they played to get here. Very bluntly, you just said, I'm out. And in between you two, hey, this was obviously building for a while, so I'm gonna let you figure it out. We're not gonna play these reindeer games. But relax. The answers are within me. The answers are out there, but now it's time for me to find what that looks like alone. More importantly, just without you. That's what I see in your read today, Taurus. I hope this conversation helps. And yeah, I mean, good job. You were, because at first I was like, this is not very much in your energy path, but based off of what I'm seeing, yeah, you've never been more sure that somebody need to be kicked out of here. Happy on you for closing doors, okay? See you around.